Fort Stockton, Texas. I'm at a truck stop about 5 hours into my day. Just refueled. I got a low air pressure indication. I don't know which tire. I'm going to address that. And then I discovered this morning that I got a headlight out. I carry a spare. I'm going to order 2 more when I change this one out. It's actually kind of a pain, driver's side, because I got to remove my diesel heater, fuel tank, and then this piece of trim comes off. This trim, you have to pull the entire headlight assembly to swap out the low beam bulb. It seems like every 4 to 6 months I'm replacing headlights on this truck. It's a known issue. I think from what I've read online, it's like it gets too hot in there. It's just a bad seal beam design. But with that said, that got me thinking a bit about supplies, provisions, safety, and I figured I'd go through some of the items I carry on my truck. New headlight installed. It's operational. Yeah, pain in the butt. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fasteners. It requires Phillips and a number 11, I think, metric, number 10. It's the other thing, you get this like US brand European vehicle, and it's a mix of metric and imperial fasteners. All right, headlights complete. And also one of my reverse lights is out, but I'll swap that out on my day off this coming weekend. So for kit, this is just some, but not all of the stuff I carry. If I think of some other things later in the week, I'll add them. But tools, so I got a socket set, metric and imperial, headlight lamp, recently become a fan of these. Just for if I'm on the side of the road or at a stage in a parking lot, which was last time after dark doing repairs, having a light on my head versus a handheld flashlight is essential. Then wrenches, screwdrivers. I've got more types. There's just a couple of representative examples. I carry a pair of mechanics gloves for saving my hands, and then spare headlights. This is what I'm going to order. Inexpensive electric air compressor. Sometimes I run into these situations, you go to the gas stations and they've got air, but it's out of order. And then I also have my equipment cart, so often when I get to location, I gotta just air something up. That thing's from Harbor Freight here in the US, which is like an inexpensive tool supply store. It's like disposable stuff. Maybe get a couple years out of it, and then I'll have to replace it again. Water. So this is just an example. I think currently I have 2 1-gallons on board, and then I've got 2 5-gallon jugs of water for kind of my bunk and sink. So if I end up out in the desert and it's 100 plus degrees and I don't have cell service, I'll be able to survive for a bit. First aid kit, fire extinguisher. I keep these items behind the driver's seat, and I need to install a second extinguisher. I think I'm going to do side door for just kind of when we're working off the truck, or if I'm in the back, like sleeping and there's a fire back there, I want something within reach. I carry a trauma kit, so this is like stop the bleed stuff, and you can buy these on Amazon now complete, but basically chest seal, tourniquet, Israeli bandage, there's a splint in there, gauze, a few other things, alcohol pads. It's a whole kit. But I need to take, I've had a few people just show me one-on-one, but I want to go take a proper stop the bleed class like in the next couple months, and then I need to refresh my CPR. As I put items away, I'm finding more things. So exactly 1 year ago, I was on my way to California, climbing the mountains going into San Diego through Imperial County. Engine started running rough, and I got a check engine light. I don't know what the heck's going on or what the cause is, but I'm in the middle of nowhere. Like, I think I had another hour and a half to the closest mechanic, and I rolled into that dealership, and this was coming out of the lockdown chaos, and they wouldn't help me. They're basically, you can make an appointment for 2 weeks from now. And I'm like, no, I need to fix this now. I'm like en route to a job, and then I got to drive back to Texas for another job. So fortunately, the guy was willing to use a scan tool to tell me what the error was. And it was a bad coil, ignition coil, like this one you see here. And he gave me the cylinder number. And so I ended up, and you can refer back to my video from January of 2022, I had a 1-week shoot in Irvine, California at a stage, and during lunch breaks and each evening I was wrenching on my van. I left it just in the parking lot disabled for the week, and I tore the intake manifold off the truck, watching YouTube videos of how to replace ignition coils. I replaced just the one that was bad and the spark plug on site, and then when I got back to my house in Texas, I ended up doing a full service and did all 6 plugs and ignition coils. But story here is no one could help me that week, and I was on my own to sort it out. That basically that week of work was like a month and a half, 2 months worth of income for me. Essentially covered about 2 months of living expenses. Just that 1-week job. I would have burned that client and the agency and my own pocketbook and probably long-term relationship had I not been able to troubleshoot and repair on the spot. So learning from that, I now carry, this is like $20 on Amazon, just a OBD scan tool. It plugs in right here. Any vehicle 1996 or newer is OBD2. At least that's the case here stateside. I'm not sure about elsewhere. So this will bring up the error code. You punch that into Google and it tells you what's going on. So I have an intermittent check engine right now. It cycles on and off, and it's a bad catalytic converter. I think it's just clogged, but it is the result of me driving the truck for a couple of hours, limping along with it misfiring, and it just kind of gummed up my front side cat. I think it's cylinder bank 246, and I'm going to remove that and clean it myself at some point. But like I said, it's intermittent, comes and goes, and it usually only kicks on after I've been driving all day. So far 5 hours in, I haven't had the error, but I imagine late in the day today or tomorrow it'll error out. .03 San Antonio time in Lordsburg, New Mexico, getting close to the Arizona border, but I started the day at 6:45 in my driveway, so it's been 13 hours and 15 minutes, and I'm getting a little tired, so I'm gonna stop for the night. I like to get to Benson, Arizona, the truck stop out there, but that's like another little over an hour, and I don't want to drive that much longer. And then stat wise, so out of a 13 hour 15 minute day, 11 hours and 40 minutes of that was drive time, so that's good. I ran the cruise control at about 65 to 68 miles an hour, 19.5 average MPGs. Getting out of San Antonio, going through hill country in Texas, there's a lot of uphill climbs, uphill downhills, which sap the mileage. By the time I get to California, I should have that up to about 20.5, maybe even 21 MPGs if I maintain 65 miles an hour. However, the truck's pretty heavy. I think it feels like this is the heaviest I've had it, other than the time I moved from my house in California to Texas. So 714 miles out of 1,300 on this trip, so a little bit more than halfway. So yeah, we're looking pretty good. Plus, I'm gonna pick up another hour as I go into California. Yeah, I'm liking the carpet. Makes it a little bit more livable back here. I ran out of daylight, so I didn't get the last piece of trim glued in place. I'll do that when I get home from this project. Get my laptop bag on top of the tool chest, and then this is the thermostat for the diesel heater. I need to install that on this carpet panel. That'll also happen in a week when I get home. So I got the heat running right now on low. The register just comes through the bottom of the door there. It's actually hitting me in the face at that angle. And I found approximately, let's see, down to about 45 degrees, the low 40s Fahrenheit. The heater runs on low, and it's actually a little bit too warm in here. So what I do is I just crack open the vent, the fan. I don't run the fan, I just open the vent a little bit to regulate the temperature, and that also helps get some fresh air back here. And then once I get down into the 30s, the heater's got to run at like a medium or high speed, so it drinks a lot more fuel, and it gets kind of loud. And then when I get down into the teens, it runs on high, and it still only gets it up to about 50 degrees back here. So as you can see, the only insulation I have is still the ceiling. And what happens is those rear doors and these side panels, especially where my head is at, it's just a big heat sink. So it's freezing cold. I can feel the hot air hitting my body, but my head and feet just have the heat getting sucked away into those metal panels. So it's rare that I spend a night out when it's that cold, like maybe one night a year. So I have not been in a big rush to get the rest of the van insulated, and I'm going to lose a little bit of headroom once I bring those panels out to this framing piece here. And I like stretching out. Right now I'm like 5'11", and I think it's 6'2", might be 6'3" of width on that queen size mattress. 8 freeway westbound, San Diego County. 1 year ago, this is where I lost my ignition coil climbing this mountain. Kick off to my week and a half in Southern California. Starting off here in Irvine. It just stopped raining. It's been raining for days, all night long. It was raining on the drive here. Hey, fun fact, if you're ever working in the Irvine area, in office parks, if the parking spaces are marked green versus white or yellow, green is Irvine Company property. So this entire campus, as is most of the city master plan community, same for Newport Beach, green equals Irvine. All right, I'm gonna start offloading.